Hey, Jude.
We're never going to be able to get the rights to that.
No.
Hey, did you ever hear there was a mashup called Beatalica, which was Beatles songs sung in the style of Metallica? And I mean, you can look at this. I believe it's on Spotify, and they had a version of Hey Jude called Hey Dude, and it is Hey Dude, so it's full Hetfield. And it is fucking great. I mean, it's pretty. I think it's a few, like maybe a decade old or something like that. But it is worth the price of admission. And I love shit like that. This week I got to work on a track where I don't know. Like I was listening to. Speaking of the Beatles, listening to fucking A Day in the Life, and like how like in the first in the John section, shall we say, like some of the percussion and drum choices are just kind of all over the place and kind of sporadic. And I was like, I'm playing this song where I've got a person they're doing a summer song, and I've been struggling to find the into it, and so I started playing with some bizarre percussion choices. I got to use a duck as a kick drum, not an actual duck. And I got to right, and like in the for the downbeat, it made me very happy, and every time it shows up in the song.
It?
How dare you?
Hey, audio engineers, how you doing?
You should leave. No, it was like I was having so much fun. There's like a bicycle bell, and like I had most all of the because I don't like using sound effect samples, just in case I have to deal with any clearance issues.
Yeah.
So I tend to try and make my own. So I had a bicycle bell, I had a bongo, and I recorded the samples. I threw them in the sampler. The only one I did not have was a duck, and so I recorded by myself. And,
wow.
And
so it's you covering a duck.
It was me covering a duck.
Now,
so I know that I have the rights to
use. Do you know
use
which one?
It was a Drake. So I'm in the middle of a beef with a mallard. I'll see myself out. I win. Tyler the Mallard.
Welcome to Dad Jokes.
Hold on. My mug that I'm drinking out of today, my son got from me, which is Ask Me About My Dad Jokes, because he very much enjoys the dad jokes and is very proud when I make them PG or G rated.
PG or G rated, aren't they all that way?
Because the dad jokes are, because the other jokes, the ones that I would normally tell amongst my peers, friends, and lovers, are definitely not PG. They're PG-13 to NC-17, maybe slightly XXX.
It's probably the only time I don't cuss is when I tell a dad joke. Welcome to 2 Shots and a Royalty Check, brought to you by Venmo, Your Money, Your Move, and Liquid Death, Murder Your Thirst. Let's get back into it. Or the only time I'm not dirty, because I work blue. I mean, in my day-to-day life.
Yeah. Shout out to Josh Blue.
Yeah, and I'll give you, I've got a great dad joke for you. You ready?
Fantastic. Get to it.
A grasshopper walks into a bar, sits at the bar, and the bartender goes, "Oh, hey, we have a drink named after you." And he goes, "Oh, you have a drink named Kenny?"
You know that's funny? Is I just watched the Ghostbusters Afterlife, and she tells that joke in the movie, because we were going to watch the Frozen Empire movie, but we were like, we got to revisit Afterlife, and like when she's fucking with Gozer, played beautifully by Olivia Wilde, by the way, that's one of the jokes, and but the cricket's name was, the grasshopper's name was Steve. That's
Steve.
Well played.
Okay, yeah, I probably screwed it up
in that joke, but I like Kenny. I think I like yours better.
I like the knee up. So
can you have a joke? A drink named Kenny? My favorite one, dad joke, always is there's two of them. How do you make time fly? You toss a clock. See, I almost went blue. You toss your cock out the window. You toss your cocksucker out the window. The second one is, how do you make a Kleenex dance? You put a little boogie in it.
Hey.
Hey, this has been, and we still worked blue, even through
That's right.
the dad joke portion.
So if you have a great dad joke, send it to @2ShotsMusicPod.
please.
We want all of
always.
yours. Well, I think that's
leave it as
interesting
a comment
that
on
you're
Apple.
sampling stuff because, like, that is that's the Timbaland way of doing it. Like,
I love that.
early
about
stuff in
him.
producing where he was just like, I'm going for my own.
It's my
sound.
face. Yeah.
I think it's important. This is something that I think all like independent musicians, no matter what genre you're in, whether it's hip hop or rock or whatever, that you can learn something from this. One of the reasons why producers want to reach for new sounds is that you want to put an imprint on a song that doesn't sound like other songs out there. Right. And so it's called like an audio identity. So when you have like the little baby voice for Timberland or whatever, or he does or he does it all with his mouth or whatever, you have your own identity as like a producer, or like what you're trying to do for the artist is separate them out from all the other stuff. Because really at this point, especially these days, and we can go back to the Beatles too, but like especially these days, everyone has access to basically the same plugins.
Yeah.
Everyone has access to basically the same, splice network, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We can all get that shit. And so how do you stand out? It's actually a conversation that I was having with someone just recently about this, where they were asking me, and I wonder what you think about this too. Why do shitty songs make it? Right? Like, and they were being very honest about it, like genuine.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I'm listening to this song. They sent me a song, and they're like, "Why? Like, you actually? It was one of the songs I shared." And they're like, "I don't get it. Like, her voice is not great. This guitar has a fuzz distortion that sounds kind of weird." The drums sound like they're mic'd in a dead room and then added stuff to it. And I was like, okay, I can answer this for you if you really want the answer. But like, it's a good question. Like, when you ask, why does some music make it that sucks? Do you know why? Like, why do you think it is?
I think that part of it has to do with what you're talking about with the new sound kind of thing, like a new audio idea. I also think that younger people are more open to that than us old farts, to a certain extent. Except you and I spend a lot of time in pretty deep waters when it comes to soundscape ideas and that kind of stuff. So we're a little bit more amiable to it. But most people, when they set their tastes at a younger age, like the idea of something sounding new is like, you kids in your darn rock and roll. I mean, I'm open. Like, the thing I think the other piece of it is for people like you and I, production ideas, even if it doesn't land, like, I don't like Saint Anger by Metallica, but I love that they did it.
Yeah. That's not really that much of a hot take.
But my point is I like that they did it, and I like that they tried something and they tried something new. And even though it's not a Metallica record I choose to listen to, I can also listen to it and go, "That's fucking cool that's how that sounds." Right. So anyway, but I don't think that's what you're asking. I think that's kind of a sidebar. But
it's just, so it's the same thing with like sped up vocals. Does that sound good, or does it just sound different? Like, if, like with a sped up vocal song, that someone's using for a TikTok or a reel or whatever, is that really a good performance? Do you really enjoy that music? Does it really connect with you emotionally? No. But does it stand out? Yeah. And this is something that maybe a lot of labels, A&R people, and people in sync, the people who pay money for music, will talk about this and don't really tell artists this. So I will tell you. It's more important for your music to stand out than it is to be good. And I was involved with a few bands back in the day where there was a singer who was nasally and...
I'm sitting right here,
man. It wasn't you. With a singer who was nasally and not the best singer in the group. And they brought the other guy in to do the other singing. Yeah. And the other singing was better. It just was better. but it did not cut through at all. It wasn't. I couldn't identify that band. It is far better for you to have a shittier vocalist or a weirder sounding guitar than it is for you to sound professionally just like everyone else. So like if you can't separate your sound out, I mean, I've talked to people constantly who bring this up. If I don't know what your band sounds like from when I listen to it, you haven't found it yet. And I know this is so hard for a lot of younger bands to understand, but it's like if you just sound really good and like the drums are great and they're slate and everything's good and the vocalist is smooth and he hits all the notes just right and bass player's pretty good or whatever, okay, but it doesn't stick out at all. And if I hear another song from you, I won't go, oh, that's band A. You know, it would just be like, oh, that's another band that does, good, decent music. It is better for you actually to be like stand out a little bit shittier because it's seen, I will also tell you this, auditory, it's seen as authentic.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's not so smooth. So it's seen as you. So this is like, is Kurt Cobain a great singer? No. But is he a good vocalist? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a very specific vocal, and you know when you fucking hear it, and you also, and then you combine the rest of that with like, what Dave Grohl is doing on drums, or like the kind of guitar that Cobain was playing, and then okay, that's a Nirvana song. Even if it's not great, that's what makes it great. Is that it's different, and you can go all the way back here, by the way, and don't think about it in shitty terms, like being a shitty musician. You could go back to Eleanor Rigby and be like, there was nothing else that sounded like that.
Yeah,
multiple changes. Straight up calliope, dun 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 dun. You straight up things that goes into a sweeping long legato, like that. Nobody else was doing that. That is also an audio identity. Yeah.
I think that's a really great point. Is because everybody's trying to chase something.
Yeah.
Like they're chasing.
Or they want to sound like a hit song.
They want to sound like a hit song, and I mean, one of the things, let's take Madeline for an example.
Yes,
here.
let's do.
Because yes, her songs have a very, very pop quality to them, but there is an underlying punk rock sentimentality and a little bit more fuck you associated with her music than is associated with. And the second that you and I listen to her new single, it's obvious that it's her.
Yeah. Absolutely. She has a total style, and she's doing different styles of music within that style.
Yeah, exactly. Billie Eilish is pretty obvious who she is because she kind of pioneered a genre shift. We went from, not that she's not a great singer, because that singing like that is really fucking hard. And you and I know that. Oh yeah, but we went from somebody like Ariana Grande, who's a Christina Aguilera, a big girl voice,
Belters.
to belters, to this real subtle, I am a millimeters from the microphone, holding a pitch, and basically whispering to you. And so there's a thing about that's very, very true. And a lot of the people we tend to work with in this example are like, I want this to sound like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And I'm like, why? There's already a fucking Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
And it's really good.
And
that's a great example too. Tom Petty, not a great singer.
Not a great, but a fucking hell of a songwriter.
But a hell of a song. But you knew it was a Tom Petty song.
Absolutely.
And so just ask yourself, we've given you a few examples. You could take it for any kind of artist that you're thinking of.
Yeah.
But if I plugged in a great singer into Tom Petty, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, but it's a great singer. It would not be as cool. It wouldn't be as, it wouldn't hit you the same. It's, and this is a way to, this is something else the industry doesn't tell you younger people in the bands as an artist, is that as important as finding your fan base is, and it is,
finding you,
it's also just as important to separate who isn't gonna like you.
Yeah.
That is so super fucking important at the top end of the business level, because then we know where not to spend our money. right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going, like, if I'm working Tom Petty in the mid 80s, I'm not going after a 13-year-old girl who's moody. Right?
Yeah.
You know that by that point. You just know it. And you know that you're going for sort of a jean short wearing kind of gal. You know who you're going for, but it's more important that you know who, like, your music cannot be for everybody. And I mean, very rarely is it for so many demographics. And this is why Taylor Swift is doing her thing, or why Beyonce can do her thing, because they can cross all of that over at some point. But that's also 10, 15, 20 years on. And, that's different. We're not talking about that. But those are people that, like, sort of elevate themselves above whatever the pop thing is. And so it is really important for you to stay true to you. Like, so when people ask you what your sound is or what do you sound like, you still got to be able to come up with, sound-alike genres and bands that they would play you after or whatever, right? But you also, like, play that game, but, like, interior-wise, like, in your band setup, in your artist setup, be wholly you and stop trying to catch everybody else, because you're not going to be as good as them. First of all, you're not going to be as good as them.
Yeah, it's true.
You're just not.
I think that can, I mean, this is one of those things where definitely working with a producer helps.
Yes. Oh, God,
yeah. Because, like, this
how does
thing,
Def Leppard sound different than AC/DC?
Yeah,
Same
exactly.
producer.
Same producer. But it's also like being able to latch onto the thing that separates you and, makes you sound like you and not like, I mean, I have this conversation with people all the time, like trying to, I want to capitalize on this thing. It's like, well, why? Why do you want to capitalize on that thing when that's not the type of artist you are?
Yeah.
So, the Timbaland ideal, it still blows my mind that most of that shit was his fucking face.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
It's like, and like, if you listen to, I mean, it was really, I remember him, like, really popping up around the time Timberlake started his solo career with Justified. But if you listen to that record, you can fucking tell it is full Timbaland,
Yeah.
So, definitely a hell.
Yeah, totally.
Totally all that face stuff.
By the
and
way,
how
don't
he
go out and
voice.
get the Timbaland sample pack.
Do not. Yeah, we already have him. Go somewhere else. But I mean, like, even like somebody like Brian Eno has a specific sound, like, to his recordings. Daniel Lanois has something that sounds like his recordings. Fucking even like mix engineers like Chris Lord-Alge have a particular sound.
Sure.
So, it's like you can lean into some of that stuff, but it's also important that, like, when you're creating and building your vibe and your aesthetic and your sound to please you. Don't fucking worry. Try not to worry too much about pleasing everybody else, unless you are in a consistent, I'm in film and sync and this is what I do kind of thing, and you're getting briefs and people are asking for specific things and you're creating based on does that make sense? I hope
very
that makes
different.
Sense.
Yeah, sync bait.
Yeah, very
sync
different
is
thing.
Different writing.
Yeah, different writing. So, but this is basically like, choose who you are and lean fucking into it, please.
And I mean, it's hard. I can't say that it's not, because when you're coming up, you don't want to sound too different, because club owners may not book you. Because, because if you're playing covers and originals, well, yeah, over here you're playing like a cover of Bruno Mars or a cover of whatever, and you want to sound good. And then you go into your original and you have this really weird, like, cracky voice, and it's like, okay, but that's recording wise. This is different than live stuff. And, like, it just depends on the road that you're taking the most. If you're going down the artist road, go more artist wise, right? If you're going down the covers road or the sync road or whatever, then go more towards pop sensibilities and something that would be more edible from the buffet. If you're going this, if you're going the artist way, have the cool fucking taco truck that serves like eyeball tacos. You know what I mean? Like, and not everyone's going to get that, but the people that love it, they'll line up for it every day.
Eyeball tacos. I don't necessarily. I don't know what you're talking about right now.
You've never had an eyeball taco?
I've never had an eyeball taco. Don't know what you're talking about. You're a crazy person, and I love you.
Man, you've got to have an eyeball taco.
Who is serving this eyeball taco?
Have you ever had a taco like lengua? Have you ever had tongue?
No, I have not. That is not something I've had. I award you no points, and may God have mercy upon your soul.
It's Oyo. Oyo.
Okay, but here's the thing: is I have of late. I had a relatively uncomfortable experience with some meats in the early part of this year. And so I've had to change my eatings thanks to the fact that I'm 107 years old these days. So I have not had a tongue taco, and I probably will not be able to have one unless
Tacos de cabeza?
I don't know what that means. Is that like a cactus? What is what is
it's basically brain.
Oh, okay. I mean, is this part of me? Because every now and then I do make this joke, and it makes everybody uncomfortable. Which is that person is really talented. I should eat their heart to absorb their skills, kind of like Mortal Kombat
okay,
style.
So cabeza is a little bit different, where they take a bunch of the stuff from the inside of the head. Sesos is the brain. Tacos de sesos. So if you look, you should know these words anyway. Is oyo?
Yeah, clearly.
OJO is eyeball. And they take it out of the socket of the eye. Everybody listening still? They take it. And it's all the bulbous stuff that's around the eye socket. It's so fatty and it's lovely. Sesos is basically, it's like custard. I mean, it's from cow or goat. And that's basically the brain. And you usually put like crunchy toppings on it, like radishes and stuff. Yeah, I want to move to Mexico. Like, here's what's so funny is if you're a white and you're in Mexico, if you're a gringo, and you order like tacos de hoyo, and they're like, "Are you sure?" You know, you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure. Give me the avocado sauce too." And they're like, "Oh shit, that's hot." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I want." But like, if you start rolling out sesos or cabeza, stuff like that, you know, then they'll ask you for your number and invite you over to their house later because they're like, "This is my kind of gringo."
And that's not a thing that they say lightly, being my kind of gringo.
No, it's good. It's all, hey, listen, this is, they're recycling. I mean, they're using every part. This is, tail to snout kind of shit. Like, look, you're people going on haggis and you're arguing about a fucking eyeball here. Get the fuck out of here.
Hold on. I'm not arguing about the eyeball. I just said I can't. I'm not arguing with any of it. I just, I also know that, I come from the land of, just fill the guts with it and blacken it and hand it to your friends.
Yeah, but what are you filling the guts with? It's all the stuff and things.
Well, it's, like some of it is.
Yeah.
Some of it's also, we found these beans. Should we put those in there too?
Well, yeah, there's beans.
Lad, shove them in there. Yeah, fucking deep fry it and send it out.
Blood pudding? Come on.
Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah. It's the fucking here's the thing. I
don't mean to be racist and say that all Scottish people like haggis, by the way.
No, but you racist. Yeah.
And by the way, all Mexicans do not like all these weird fucking things either. There's plenty of Mexicans that are like, "Oh, get the fuck out of here with cabeza, hoyo."
Yeah. I would like to point out that I have tried just about everything. Like I'm like also the person that's like, fuck it, I'll try anything once, twice if I like it.
Yeah.
And I have tried haggis, and I've tried various other parts of an animal in various snack capacities over the years. Looking at you, Rocky Mountain oysters. I have had it, but like, there's just something about like, I don't know anymore, man. Like I get all these delivered videos of cows being cute, and I'm like, I want to eat you, but. Ooh. You look like you really just need a snuggle.
Lisa Simpson's got you. You moving?
It's just a little airborne. It's still good.
You moving over to the vegetarian side of town?
I'm not quite vegetarian because I do still eat the fishes, the loaves and fishes.
You're a pesca. You're a pesca.
I'm a little bit more. I mean, like I did it years ago. I think I've told you. My son, when he was younger, he was probably 3. I love the fact that he did this. He stood up and declared when he was about 3 years old, pigs are my favorite animal. Don't feed me pig meat. I don't want to eat pig meat anymore. And I said, okay. So we haven't, had pork or bacon or any of that kind of stuff in the house for, I mean, he is a teenager. Yeah, exactly. We haven't had that in the house in 12 or 13 years now. And I love the smell of bacon and I really want to eat it. But, I just, I made a promise to my kid and I'm like, I'm going to keep that shit. And I actually feel pretty fucking good.
What about turkey bacon?
He'll eat the turkey bacon.
Yeah.
He'll eat the turkeys. We'll eat some of the birds
bacon
around here. I like turkey bacon too.
Yeah.
We're getting yelled at by. I can think of at least 3 people that listen to this podcast that we're friends with that are screaming at their fucking speak, like they're like, "Fuck you," cocksuckers. So, by the way, at some point in time, we will record a 9-part harmony drop of cocksuckers.
Yes, we will. We're just working on the licensing of it. This whole thing with
we're also trying to get it above 30 seconds so we can actually generate some revenue.
That's right. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Yeah. No, listen. Here's what I say about weird food.
Okay.
I think that, especially when you're talking eyeballs and tongue and brain and things like that, what a luxury it is for a lot of us to not have to eat that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when I've done it before, it's been in a more provincial setting where, hey, listen, this is sort of the thing. And then so you skip from there to, very high haute cuisine. That uses these weird things basically to freak out rich white people, right? Like sweetbrains, that kind of, or sweetbreads, which is brains, that kind of stuff. And it's like, here's my thing. I've had it all. I've done some amazing dining experiences in my life, from the street to a very nice Michelin restaurant. I live very near one. And,
that's right. We've got one in Denver now.
And I've been Troy and Jen. I know some of the chefs. I've done some of that. We used to do a lot of the restaurant stuff. Here's my real big take on it. Most of it sucks. I have tried the really expensive odd food thing, and most of it. If you take away the fact that I just spent $250 on a plate of food and that it's made by a very famous chef and that it was served to me perfect and we're all dressed up and everything's nice, and just take all that away and just give me the plate of food and I ate it, I'd be like, this sucks. I'm never eating this again. But the problem is when you're in a really nice place and you've spent all that, you have to break it down and go, it's unctuous. Ooh, I like the umami of this. Ooh, it's got a little sweetness with a little tart on the end of it. Isn't that cilantro fantastic? You have to go through all this fucking hullabaloo. It's kind of like when you buy expensive wine. It has to be good, right? You already bought the bottle. Yeah. But if you drank a half a bottle of very expensive wine, you can't go, you know what? This sucks. Pour it out. I would love a Coors Light.
I did a very, very, very fancy party a few years ago, in which it was a private book for my company, and it was this massive fucking property that this family owned, and they had a really, really high end liquor collection. And I had a glass of scotch that was a $500 glass of scotch.
Okay.
It was garbage.
Sometimes it's garbage.
And I'd like to point out that the patriarch of this family was drinking Coors Light.
See? I'm just saying, sometimes
it's refreshing.
Sometimes it's just sort of bullshit, And even the times where I've had some of these tacos or these things from street carts, deep in different countries or whatever.
Yeah.
That I'm no, I just want a carne asada. I have my things I like, and And I like them for a reason. I like them every time. I'm in almost every single circumstance. Okay, you're going to like this. In almost every single circumstance when it comes to a drink, if it can't beat a Coke, then I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And almost nothing I've ever imbibed as a drink has beat a Coke. I almost said put it in my lips. I almost said put it in my mouth. But I knew that there's a few people listening that are going to jump on that. But imbibed, I would almost in all cases have preferred an ice cold fucking Coke.
Yeah.
By the way, a Mexican bottle Coke, but
oh yeah, that's a good call.
That's the best.
By the way, at that party, that was my first experience with a very the most expensive bottle of Clase Azul.
Yeah.
And it was the really good shit, and it was outstanding. That experience.
See, this is where I'm stuck on this tequila because, like, I don't know. Like, I love Cabo Wabo tequila.
Yeah, I get that.
It's. I mean, obviously, it comes from back in the Van Halen thing because that's where it comes from. But like, I actually have tried other tequilas and Blanco, by the way. Blanco or I'm out. But like Blanco and Cabo Wabo.
You don't like the Reposados?
I mean, I do. You know I do. I'll drink whatever. But like if I choose it, like I've had a whole bottle of it in a night and didn't have a hangover. And that's like sleeping with an all-pro. You know what I mean? That's But here's the thing. Like then Sammy comes out with another one called Santo Tequila, and I've tried it. Nah, it's all right. And I don't know whether or not I am like if it's because of Van Halen that I seriously love Cabo Wabo. We've had better tequila together. Yeah. I'm just I like it, but like if I have my choice, my druthers, it is.
Oh, good word.
Yeah. It is Cabo Wabo.
Yeah, I think it
so
depends.
So if you see me in public, buy me a shot of Cabo Wabo.
Done. We're going to drink that
Blanco.
next week anyway. Blanco, bitches. I bought a bottle of Costco tequila.
Oh. Kirkland?
And, because it was the Kirkland brand. And I was like, like you hear the story, like the Kirkland brand, actually, it's actually,
that's
it's the
actually
same. It's actually from Mexico, and it's made by 17 Mexican nuns, handmade. And it's like a really good tequila. They just slap their label on it for some reason. This tequila is fine, but it needs to be mixed. It's not a sippin' tequila, and you and I are fans of the sippin' tequilas.
Yeah.
So yes, I can go in between, but it depends on the context of the tequila.
Yeah. I agree. All right, so this has been Food Talk with Michael and Stu. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks so much. Don't get me brain tequilas.
Should we hit on any of these other things or just go to the topic? Look, I want to mention something. I'm going to mention it because the Mirage is gone in Vegas. They're tearing it down.
The volcano's gone, huh?
The volcano's gone, and I did a post about this, which I think is kind of fun. And you can measure how long you've been on this earth by a few things. And one of them is when you were there when a casino was built and you're alive when the casino is demolished.
Yeah.
Now, I was there in the year Mirage opened.
Yeah.
And my favorite casino is across the street from it. And it's actually not even a casino. It was just like a place to go play cards. I think it was Casino Royale. It was like by Harrah's. And they used to have Coors Extra Gold for $1, and we would drink them dry. And you would go stand outside, have a cigarette, drink Coors Extra Gold, and watch the volcano all night.
Yes.
Every 30 minutes or whatever it was, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm now, and I've been to Vegas tons of times. I love Vegas. And I've been there when the sands went down, when the Stardust was blown up. We got to go walk through there and steal ashtrays. They basically let people walk through the Stardust and like steal everything. They're like, you have one more day. Like they had auctions and then you could buy stuff. And then they're like, this is the last day. Come and take pictures and whatever else you can grab.
Yeah.
I still have an ashtray from the Stardust. The Stardust, baby. And anyway, but obviously I wasn't alive when it was built.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was of drinking age when the Mirage, well, I wasn't of drinking age actually, but I was close.
Close enough for Vegas rules.
Yeah. But so it's going to be replaced by a Hard Rock. And it's going to be a guitar in the middle of the strip.
Not like the one in Fort
Lauderdale. My friend James said, talk to me when they build a tuba on the Strip. So. But I think this is a good signal for Vegas that we're moving away from some of the, I don't know, weird things that Vegas does. Like, it's a volcano with sirens and people doing diving. Okay. But
try to make it
now
more
there's going to be a hard
family-friendly.
rock with a big, built out of a guitar. And as musicians, we like this, I think.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I've played at the Hard Rock in it's on the Bellagio. Where the hell is it?
No, it's off Strip. Way the fuck off Strip.
No. Well, but there's a Hard Rock, it's a House of Blues. Fuck. I have played the House of Blues. I have not played the Hard Rock there. I played the Hard Rock in Orlando, but I've not played the Hard Rock.
That's where we were trying to get your Pink Floyd show. Was the Hard Rock off the Strip?
That would have been great.
Let's love it because they have like rock and roll like themed slots, which I love.
The Aerosmith one.
I love all of them. I don't care.
I don't discriminate.
I love Iron Maiden pinball.
Oh,
Def Leppard slots.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
I'd be
Kiss,
curious,
of course, is everything. Kiss on everything.
I'd love to see the branding. I'd love to see the branding deals on those. Like, can I see the contract on that? I want to know what the ask was to put.
I can tell you a little bit.
There.
Most of them are done in the place that makes almost all casino games like that is in Utah. How hilarious is that? Okay. Well, anyway, that's a whole other podcast. But
yeah, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll see you at the Hard Rock.
Yeah,
there's
going to
be
another
another big
for me.
fucking. Should we let this out? I think I can let this out. There was a deal on the table for Hall & Oates.
Oh, I saw this, and it was
not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, but it was pretty good fucking money too.
Yeah, over $30 million for 35 shows.
Yeah, but didn't John put out a statement about it like that?
They're not.
Was it about that or something?
Again.
It's like, of course they're not going to play again. But he said he considered them both solo artists that played together.
Yeah, this is it's been this way for many, many years.
Yeah,
like this has been the deal since like the 90s. It's like they've always been this way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but anyway, there's going to be more rock residencies coming to Vegas. I can tell you that. Mm-hmm. There's going to be more things that you don't think about like somebody like The Killers or My Chemical Romance.
Oh.
Those kind of bands. Like, we're not even talking about Aerosmith or Fleetwood Mac or any of that kind of shit. We're talking about, like, there's going to be some mini residencies with, like, because those are, like, think about it. Those people like, I'm fans of those bands too, but younger millennials that came up with, like, Blink 182, their kids are getting older. They want to go to Vegas. And, like, they don't want to go stand out in a field and watch a festival for 12 hours to see their favorite older band. Yeah. And so
older band.
There's going to be some of these things, and I think it's good. Like, we're not talking about Cher or Adele or Elton or Celine. We're starting to move into some different kind of residencies, and the Hard Rock being in the middle of the Strip is going to increase that.
Yeah, I would love to see My Chem do a residency somewhere and put on a full on 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge.
Yeah, bring back Black Parade.
Bring
Hell yeah,
Black Parade live. The Black Parade. Welcome to the Black Parade. The experience.
Yeah.
The
whole thing.
Because can you imagine that? Like, I would just let Gerard do his fucking just put a comic book in a resident.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the Umbrella Academy meets... Oh, that would be fucking amazing. A brand new stage show for Vegas powered by My Chemical Romance. I am into that. That sounds fucking excellent.
I'm totally in. Yeah, I'm totally into it. I think it's going to... It's a signal that Vegas is, moving on with the times. And, like, even though, like, there's someone young listening to this and, like, yeah, guitars are out, you guys. Or, like, this is stupid, you guys. But it is, okay, for Vegas, it is moving a little bit further from, suits and cigars to,
I mean, to be fair, the last time I was there, I had to break out my 12-year-old Affliction catalog I was wearing Ed Hardy jeans and, really hitting the bedazzled sparkly booties to go see Billy Idol, in my Affliction jersey.
Okay. Thank you for sharing
So
that.
it wasn't necessarily about suits and cigars at that point in time. It was definitely early 2000s Nickelback attire.
No, but I'm saying the general vibe of Vegas is even moving further into sort of more contemporary.
Yes,
and not Bellagio, not like what it's been doing recently over the last 10 years is moving into really high end, Cosmopolitan, Bellagio, that kind of shit. Even
the
Paris,
Wynn,
or the Fontainebleau. There's like all these places. Like, hey, give me a little bit more trashy Vegas. I want to wear some cargo shorts and drop $1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I want to go to the nice place and put on a suit and eat the meal or whatever, I want to do that. But I think there's a lot of people that want Vegas to have a little bit more of the trashy part that it used to be back in the days of Imperial Palace and when you could go stay at Circus and there weren't that many kids. But yeah, I think it's changing, and that's a good thing.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear it. Well done, Las Vegas.
Well done. That's what this episode is about. Well done, Las Vegas.
Three cheers for Las Vegas.
God, I can't wait to go to Vegas. I just need to spend 2, 3, 4 months there, just a little bit of time to decompress.
and lose all of your money. I told you we made a mistake of starting a tour we made a mistake of starting a tour in Vegas, staying with a friend of ours out there. And our first, of course, the first thing they suggested was, hey, you want to go to the Spearmint Rhino tonight? That was the whole per diem. Anyway, on to other things.
All right, so we got a question in on the old email. You can email us at 2ShotsMusicPod@gmail.com. That's the number 2ShotsMusicPod@gmail.com. And this was the email. You want to read it, Kelsey? No, she's not in the mood. She's like, really? Is this the first time I'm going to be on the podcast? Fuck off. Okay, so should I use Spotify ads to promote my music? And this was about... There was some preamble to this that I didn't include, but it was basically we know you guys do the ads on the Instagrams and the Meta and the Facebook and the things and YouTube stuff or whatever. This is more about ads within Spotify's ecosystem. So Spotify has on your artist profile, you have a chance where you can promote a song within Spotify using their Spotify ad platform. Just a little bit of preamble here. It's a $250 minimum. I will tell you that as someone who has tried it. And there's a few things about it that are weird. One, you have to use your voice. There has to be talk. There has to be voice over. It can't just be a snippet of the song.
Yeah.
It is very much a audio medium. And so that's something to keep in mind. So $250 is the minimum. You can run that over multiple weeks or whatever, but you got to be in for $250. I hate that. First of all, hate that. I don't that's probably the number you should get to when you're doing ads anyway, probably as a minimum. But I don't like that. If you're dipping your toe in the water, that they force some artist to spend $250 right away. So have you ever done Spotify ads within the Spotify app?
Not inside the app. I've done it everywhere else with with Meta and Google and obviously the YouTube ads with Google and stuff. So I've never done it in the platform because I don't. If somebody's already on Spotify and they hear that ad, they don't need me to tell them that I have a song on Spotify.
Well. So the way that they sell it is this. So if someone hears the ad, they can save the song right away. They can interact with the song. That will put it into their little user, cauldron to where you will pop up in their shit more often. And so the selling point of it is okay. The idea that they're already on Spotify, you're trying to get them to listen to Spotify, to your song on there. You can follow an artist directly from the ad, so then they will get your next songs that come out. Although it is based on songs. It's based on a song or a track, right? It's based on a track. So you can't just do, I don't believe you can just do an artist profile ad on there. It makes kind of sense because it's kind of analogous to doing a Google ad on YouTube that's only on YouTube, so that if you like it, You'll go directly to their YouTube page. You'll watch their video. So the idea here is that someone may be listening and then they get your ad and they're like, ooh, I dig that. I'm going to click on it and listen to the song. Boom, you got a stream. Right? If you get over a certain amount of time. So, okay, so so all of this sounds great. Like, why wouldn't you do this? So I have done this. We did, I think it was a $2,000 buy on it, and it's okay. Let's end the suspense, and then I'll tell you why. It sucks. Don't do it. Never spend your money on Spotify's ad platform. There you go. There's the answer. Podcast over. Here's why. There's a few reasons why. One, because it's such an audio medium, you don't get any fan buy-in. Like, they don't know what you are as an artist. Secondly, it only goes to people who are using ad-supported Spotify, and these are not people normally... So, like, if you're a premium user on Spotify, you're never going to hear this ad.
Yeah.
Well, I want premium users to hear my artists on Spotify, right? Because, first of all, you get paid more. They're more engaged music fans, more engaged music listeners.
Yeah.
Your freebie listeners are probably, listen to podcasts and then a song or two every now and then. Another reason why is you have just interrupted their listening to the songs they like.
Yeah, they're not listening to your ad.
You're not going to be an ad value. You're not going to, it's not going to add value to their life, which is what ads need to do, either entertain or add value. And you're not going to. Whereas conversely, if you're using Meta or Instagram ads, that kind of thing, there's a visual component to it with the audio, right? You usually have someone singing, mouthing the words, but you have the master track underneath. You get a feel for who it is and their kind of style, the graphics, what they look like, what the band's trying to tell you. You may have a little prompt of text there. They're like, your new favorite dirty band, or, your new favorite pop princess, whatever. That kind of shit. You can't do that on this. And so the conversion rate is just dog shit. I won't go through all of the numbers, but I will tell you for your $250, you'll probably get 25 clicks. It is so horrible.
That is not a good return on
you
investment.
don't get, we're talking less than 1%, less than 5%. You don't get more followers. It's just a fucking scam from Spotify. That's what it is. It's a scam from... I have a campaign still in Spotify that I paused that I wanted to just leave because I haven't spent all the money on it, but it's not worth it. I mean, I'll pause it forever. Yeah. It's just not worth it. So if you're an up-and-coming band, it's just not worth it at all. It's not worth it at all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think it's... I was talking with somebody the other day about we're about to start a I'm coaching on a release campaign. I don't want to do it, so I'm kind of letting them fumble around in the dark a little bit. But we were talking about this particular the where to invest time and where to invest energy, and people keep coming back to Spotify as, I understand that it is a metric by which people outside of me use to kind of clarify their position in their career. Like, you get a certain number of streams, I kind of have an idea of where I am in this process. But for people like me, that is less of a concern. And the thing about Spotify for me is that I got a royalty statement this week, and I think that there's this. I was looking at the royalty statement, and there was payouts based on streams of songs that I have either co-write on, or I'm the sole writer and owner on, or this, that, and the other thing. And the Spotify breakdown of what and how people are listening to music and what you get paid based on whether or not they're a premium subscriber. They're a premium subscriber in the US. If they're a premium subscriber, but they're part of the Verizon bundle, or they're a premium subscriber part of this thing. Like, all the royalty rates are completely different. And so your audience is so fragmented on how they're engaging with the platform. It's a wonder that ad platform even exists and is generating any revenue, because it's just not how people are engaging with the platform necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might be based on major label buy-ins or maybe sub-label buy-ins, where like they feel that like if you spend a lot of money on it, it's worth the promotional aspect of it.
Yeah.
Or like if you're trying to juice a big single, that might be worth it. I mean, but I mean, they already get incentives for big singles. I don't understand like why an independent would do it. Although, I mean, I understand why. This is the reason why we were interested, is the client wanted me to do it. And they're like, it totally makes sense. And I want to go bigger on Spotify, and I don't have, enough people on Spotify, and fair enough.
Yeah.
They wanted
but there
to build
are other
their
ways
fan
to do
base.
that.
Yeah.
There are other ways to do that for sure.
And they're hard. The other ways are hard. I mean, it seems like it should work.
Yeah, there's that word.
Yeah, it seems like it should work. They're on Spotify. Here's some music. You're here to listen to music, but that's just not how it works.
That's not how the platform. I think that's the thing that's. I mean, again, if you're trying to juice like Beyonce, the new single from America's favorite, the world famous, like that makes a little bit of sense, but I have been a free listener on Spotify, and when the ad comes on, I immediately check out. So for me, I mean, I get the visual component with like YouTube and Meta and all that kind of stuff, like because I can see it and it's like it scrolls by, and it definitely, even if I don't actively engage with the ad, it got in there, right?
Yeah.
Like the audio thing for me is very easy to get past. Like I can shut it out pretty easily, and I believe most people can. So, but it reminds me of like when radio was the real thing. The new album from Meredith Brooks, Bitch Part 2, or whatever it's going to be. Like that's what it reminds me of. So I understand people like saying, "Oh, that makes sense to me."
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, look, scrolling ads, which is what we call basically the Facebook and the Instagram stuff, are basically what you would be doing anyway, right? You're scrolling through reels, and so the action is the same. Something catches you, and you hold for a second, and you're like, "Oh, okay, cool." Boom, hit the heart button, and I'm out. Or I may hold that, I may like that, and go to their profile, maybe. If I've seen it a few times. But I mean, even when we do those ads, you're not looking for a one-to-one, like the first time that someone saw your ad on Instagram that they went and listened to your music. It will have to, you're going to have to retarget and hit them like 4 to 10 times.
How many times does it take to make an impression?
That fucking song sounds familiar. Yeah, because you've heard it on this ad 20 times.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. What was the number? There was a number of times that 10. They say in advertising, 10 times. Yeah, you have to. It has to land 10 times in front of that one customer to even engage with them.
Yeah, and it's also social proof. Like if it is 10 times, it's around 10, but 10 is the number. But if it's around 10 times, you're like, oh, this song, like your brain will go, this song's blowing up.
Yeah,
I need to get now. You got FOMO. I haven't heard the whole song. I've only heard this little snippet of it. This is why TikTok works. Like you hear all that shit over and over and over on your FYP, and it's a sound being used on multiple videos. You're like, oh my god, this song must be hot. Look at all these people using this. But that's not going to happen on Spotify. You're going to get one shot at it. There isn't really retargeting. Just don't do it. Don't use it. It's not worth it. It's horrible.
I'm a little shocked. There's no retargeting in there. But again, I mean, like, it seems like it's a money grab.
Yeah, it's not good. All right.
Well, that was a rant and a half.
Stink.
I went first last week, so why don't you go first?
I will go first on this.
Stuart.
I've been watching this fantastic show on Netflix. Well, actually, I'm done with it. But it's called Bodkin, Bodkin.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And it's got some... what's that guy's name? I'm trying to remember the guy's name now. I didn't even remember it. But it's basically about a podcaster that goes over to Ireland... Ooh. And And oh God, his name. Who was the guy? He was from Saturday Night Live. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when I enter it into Google, my everything in Google for me is followed by music supervisor. So anyway, so the star of it is Will Forte,
nice.
which you'll remember
Yeah.
from Saturday Night Live and a few crazy bad movies. There are a lot of Irish people in it as well. David Wilmot is fantastic. But it's basically a podcaster that goes over to solve a 20-year-old mystery in Ireland that happened during Samhain. And for those of you who don't know how to say Samhain, it's spelled Sam Hain. But so it's on Netflix. That's all I'm going to tell you about it. It unravels and turns into a huge murder mystery thing. And it's kind of fun because it's got, small town Ireland, small Cork County kind of stuff going on there, as clashing with podcasts and a guy from America. It's that whole thing.
Nice.
Anyway, episode 3. It's kind of a fun show. It's breezy. It goes by fairly quick. It's very much a Netflix show, a limited series.
Limited.
In episode 3, there is a funeral happening. A wake. For all of you Irish people, don't hit me on that. But a wake, and there is a scene where there are two guys at the funeral, two older guys arguing about Fleetwood Mac and whether or not Fleetwood Mac is good or bad.
Yeah.
And eventually, everybody's getting drunk, and they come back to these two guys singing "Don't Stop" from Fleetwood Mac, just on their own, a cappella, like
Nice.
"Don't stop thinking about tomorrow." Don't, very Irish, very brogue.
Yeah.
And it's a great example of a one-side music supervision.
Yeah.
So they didn't use the master.
Didn't have to clear the master, yeah.
So they only got to get the publishing on it.
Nice.
And there are some pretty cool cues. I may reserve another drop. There's a few
Fantastic.
other needle drops in it. But I thought it was a really good example. This is episode 3 of how your song can get placed into a show based on the publishing alone and the master isn't used. And that's when this is a way for you to understand what the two sides of music sync are with master and publishing, underlying composition. And so not using the sound of the song, this is a way where you just get one side of the music supervision. Anyway, the soup is Liza Richardson, who we've mentioned on this a few times. She's done a few things. But it's kind of a fun show. Bodkin on Netflix. That is my
Very
simple week.
nice. Very
Trying
nice.
to teach you all a little something.
I like that one. I like that for the educational purposes that you have presented. I am watching. Well, I'm all caught up on my my nerd shows. I don't know if you're aware of my love of nerdy shit.
I am.
You are. Apparently, I didn't fucking write down what episode this was. I'm pretty sure it was the most recent episode of this, because that was the finale that I finished. Sure, I'm a terrible person. I'm sorry, everybody.
No, that's okay.
But I love my CW superhero shows. So I watched Arrow, I watched The Flash, I watched Black Lightning, I've watched Stargirl. They're fucking like silly, low stakes superhero shows. But the one I'm really enjoying is I've been really enjoying, and it's one of the last ones I really, because I don't watch many teenage angst shows anymore. But I started watching Superman and Lois, about Superman and Lois Lane moving back to Smallville to raise their 2 children. It is fun as fuck. And in I believe it was the finale. It might not have been the finale. It might have been the one before. There was a drop of Ministry's NWO. And I was like, and it was like, it's the evil supervillain scene. It's the crack den. It's it's heavy as fuck. So it's like, it's immediately.
Ministry,
so
not a
like,
whole lot of placements in TV.
not a whole lot of placements in TV, which is why it's stuck out. I was like, because I loved that fucking industrial rock shit in the 1900s and early 2000s. Big fan of that shit. 9 Inch Nails everywhere, but Ministry was one. Jesus Built My Hot Rod was the big fucking single like everybody kind of like around the time I was in high school. That was the big fucking song. But it was cool to like in a 2023 show to hear a Ministry song.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. And again, it was associated with the bad guys.
That's right.
Because, metal is for villains.
That's right.
You bring Lex Luthor in, he's going to be walking into Slipknot. And the soup on that was Season Kent. I will find the episode. I apologize, everybody. That's me.
So this is Superman and Lois.
Superman and Lois.
Okay,
yeah,
not Smallville.
Not Smallville, which I also loved. Of course, I fucking did. Tom Welling, my fucking Superman. So there you go. That's my
fantastic.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna look it up right now so I can tell you what episode it was in because it's gonna fucking annoying me.
No one cares.
It's season 3 finale, so I was right on. It was the finale.
You were right. It didn't matter at all.
It didn't matter at all. But it was fucking cool to hear Ministry and a CW show.
I love a Ministry placement.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this sucker up, everybody. Make sure to check out StuMillerMusic.com. Stu, do you have any openings?
I have one opening right now. I'm finishing up one EP, so I have some space.
Get in there. StuMillerMusic.com.
Slide it in, yo.
STU Miller Music, all one word.com. You can get them. It's going to be great. Hey, remember to rate and subscribe, download, give us 5 stars, leave us a hilarious comment over there on the Apple Podcast. I don't think we have another one yet, so y'all been doing a great job of cussing.
Yeah, thank you so much. We did recommend dad jokes. That might get through.
Yeah. Dad jokes.
Yeah.
You can leave a dad joke if you'd like.
Leave a dad joke as a comment. Yeah.
And you can follow us anywhere you follow people at 2ShotsMusicPod. That's the number 2ShotsMusicPod anywhere you follow people. And email us 2ShotsMusicPod@gmail.com. 2ShotsMusicPod@gmail.com. And until we talk to you next time, we hope you write a great song because we love you.
Love you.
Goodbye. Sucker.
Nailed it.